Ambassador Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire adjusted his crystalline. Hearing apparatus as the human, delegation entered the Grand Assembly Hall. The representatives of Terra looked small and unremarkable among the towering Rigelians and the graceful Andromedans, their plain uniforms a stark contrast to the ornate robes and biomechanical enhancements of the galaxy's established powers. "And what?" Kethvar announced with barely concealed disdain. "Do the humans propose to contribute to our great galactic alliance?" The human ambassador, a middle-aged woman named Sarah Chen, stepped forward without hesitation. "Music," she said simply. The hall erupted in what could only be described as polite mockery. The Zephyrians' crystalline bodies chimed with amusement, while the gas-based nebulans released clouds of what their translators interpreted as laughter. Even the stoic Centaurians allowed their faceplates to flicker, with what passed for smiles among their kind. "Music?" High Counselor Vextar of Rigel VII leaned forward on his massive frame. "We have the harmonic frequencies of 1,000 worlds. The Andromedans compose symphonies using gravitational waves. The Zephyrians create melodies from the resonance of stellar cores. What could your primitive species possibly offer?" Chen reached into her satchel and withdrew a small, ancient-looking device. "This is called a harmonica," she explained. "It's about 300 years old. Belonged to my great-great-grandfather during what we call the Third World War." She raised it to her lips and played a simple, haunting melody. The notes seemed to hang in the air. Not complex, not technologically advanced, but something else entirely. Something that made the assembled aliens lean forward despite themselves. "Crude," Kethvar declared, though his voice had lost some of its earlier certainty. "Primitive wind instruments. We have moved far beyond such." "Let me show you something else," Chen interrupted gently. She activated a holographic projector, and suddenly the hall was filled with images of human history. Soldiers marching in perfect synchronization to drum beats. Workers singing as they built great structures. Protesters linking arms and voices against oppression. Athletes pushing beyond their limits as crowds chanted their names. "You see," Chen continued, "our music isn't just about beauty or complexity. It's about unity. It's about turning individuals into something greater than the sum of their parts." The aliens watched, transfixed as the images showed humans throughout their history using rhythm and melody to coordinate, to inspire, to become one collective force. The steady beat of war drums that had synchronized entire armies. The work songs that had built civilizations. The protest anthems that had toppled empires. "Interesting historical curiosities," Vextar rumbled, though his tone had shifted. "But what practical application?" His words were cut off by an urgent alarm. The great viewscreen of the assembly hall flickered to life, showing space filled with the nightmare shapes of void wraith ships, the galaxy's most feared enemy. The mechanical entities that consumed entire star systems, leaving nothing but empty space in their wake. "Impossible," breathed Counselor Yelatha of Andromeda. "The Wraith fleet wasn't supposed to reach this sector for another standard cycle." Panic began to spread through the hall. The Alliance had no unified response protocol. Each species had their own military traditions, their own command structures, their own ways of thinking about warfare. In every previous encounter with the Wraiths, the Alliance forces had fought as separate armies and lost catastrophically. Chen stepped forward again. "May I make a suggestion?" Without waiting for permission, she activated her communicator. "Admiral Torres, please begin the Harmony Protocol." Across the Alliance fleet, something unprecedented began to happen. Human ships started broadcasting a signal, not a complex military frequency, but something much simpler. A steady driving rhythm that seemed to pulse with primal energy. Then came the melody, building on that foundation, simple but compelling. The alien crews initially dismissed it as another human eccentricity, but as the music filled their ships, something strange occurred. Zephyrian tactical officers found their crystalline bodies naturally resonating with the beat. Rigellan gunners discovered their massive hands moving in time with the rhythm. Even the ethereal nebulans found their gas forms shifting in harmony with the melody. "What is this?" Admiral Cross of the Zephyrian fleet demanded over the comm. "It's called the Battle Hymn of Terra," Chen replied. "But today it's the Battle Hymn of the Alliance. Every species, every ship moving as one. Your tactical computers will find the rhythm provides perfect synchronization algorithms. Your gunners will discover the beat optimizes firing patterns. Your navigators will realize the melody aligns with quantum jump sequences. And incredibly, impossibly, it worked. As the music swelled, thousands of ships from dozens of species began moving not as separate fleets but as a single, unified force. The Wraith vessels, accustomed to facing chaotic, disorganized resistance, suddenly found themselves confronting something they had never encountered before: perfect coordination on a galactic scale. Zephyrian light cruisers danced between Rigellan battleships in intricate patterns, their movements synchronized to the microsecond by the driving rhythm. Andromedan scouts flowed like water around Centaurian heavy artillery, the melody guiding their graceful maneuvers. Even the typically chaotic Nebulans found themselves forming precise attack formations, their gaseous forms pulsing in time with the music. The Wraiths, for the first time in their mechanical existence, retreated. In the aftermath, as the Alliance fleet regrouped and the immediate threat passed, the assembly hall was silent. The various species looked at the humans with something approaching awe. "How?" Kethavar asked quietly. "How did you know?" Chen smiled, tucking her harmonica back into her pocket. "Because we learned something a long time ago. Music doesn't just move individuals, it moves souls. And when souls move together, they become unstoppable." High Counselor Vextar rose slowly from his seat. "The Galactic Alliance formally accepts Terra's membership," he declared. "And we hereby request that humanity establish the Department of Harmonic Warfare Coordination." As the delegates filed out, making plans for integration protocols and joint training exercises, Chen remained behind for a moment, looking out at the stars. She pulled out the old harmonica once more and played that same simple melody, the one that had just united a galaxy. Somewhere in the cosmic distance, the Void Wraiths regrouped and planned their next assault. But for the first time in their existence, they would be facing not just the weapons and technology of the Alliance, but something far more powerful: the rhythm of unity itself. The galaxy had stopped laughing at human music. Now it was learning to march to its beat.